This is KGW News at noon.
That man is accused of murdering his former partner. He pleaded not guilty in court this morning. That's Mohammed Adan. He's charged in the death of Rachel Abraham. Court records show Adan has a history of abuse against Rachel. Last month, just one day after a recent bail hearing, the nonprofit Portland Freedom Fund posted his bail, setting Adan free, and then 7 days later, Rachel Abraham was dead. Welcome to the News at Noon. I'm Drew Carney. We talked to Margaret Carter about this case. Carter was the first black woman to serve in the Oregon legislature, where she served for 22 years. She says Oregon lawmakers need to take another look at the rules involving bail and make it harder for domestic abusers to get out.
The one thing we know in terms of data is that if a person is a violator of the rights of women, domestic violence, we know if they say they're going to kill you, they're going to try everything they can to get to you in order to kill you, because it's a matter of power. This is not about love, or nothing of that nature. This is about power and control. And that's exactly what created this heinous crime. This young man must have had a lot of insecurities himself and she's tiny, to be able to kill somebody in such a dastardly way.
Carter also had a close relationship with Rachel, and she told us that she considered her part of the family. We also talked to Carter about the Portland Freedom Fund's history and her take on Oregon's current bail system, which lawmakers changed this year. You can find that interview and our coverage of this case on the KGW YouTube channel. Also, if you or someone you know is a victim of domestic violence, you can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 800-799-7233, or you can simply text the word START to 88788. The hotline is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Well, lots of kids around the area went back to school last week, and thousands more are heading back this week, including students at Oregon City High School. We were there this morning, early this morning, during our sunrise show, celebrating the first day of classes with the Pioneers Marching Band, cheerleaders, and junior ROTC members. Great job again from the Pioneers this morning at Oregon City High School. Today, by the way, also the first day of school for the kindergarten kids at Maplewood Elementary School in Southwest Portland, along with other Portland public schools all throughout the district.
Well, a lot of parents drop their kids off first for breakfast. They can expect wonderful breakfast and lunch and just a very caring and nurturing environment, and really having a school year that is finally back to normal, where we can really focus on learning how to read and working on our math skills and just getting down to business.
So we saw some high school kids earlier. There's the kindergarten kids, and now one more stop, Highland Park Middle School. A little love for the middle school students there at Highland Park in Beaverton. They have a new principal this year. Principal tells us that the staff has been working hard to get the school ready for this first day back. She says they're all looking forward to a great school year. Definitely some warm weather, Rod Hill, to start the school year for those kids. This is a live look outside downtown Portland on this Tuesday afternoon. What do you have for us in the Weather Center, Rod?
Beautiful day so far. I'm afraid the most comfortable part of our day is now coming to an end. As we get more and more into the afternoon, temperatures are really going to start to rise. We are right in the middle of a dry bullseye, no weather systems. And in fact, all of our cameras all day have shown a mix of beautiful deep blue skies or hazy sunshine, including the coast. Yaquina Bay, Newport, most of the beach this afternoon is going to get up into the 70s. Downtown Portland's been sunny, and we continue to be, or will continue to be this afternoon. So here's your planner. 77 degrees right now in the heart of the city. 92 the expected high. Not a record, but well above normal. Normal is now only 79. Now that we're getting more into September, it'll still be in the 80s for you this evening. Parts of the state under a heat advisory. We'll talk about that coming up in just a bit.
All right, we will have more from Rod here shortly, but right now we want to bring you an update on a story we covered yesterday. It was a carjacking that turned into a kidnapping, and then fortunately it became an escape. So the victim ran barefoot at 4:30 in the morning, basically saved herself by jumping out of a moving car before she banged on a stranger's door. KGW's Catherine Cook talked to the family who woke up from her cries for help. They say it wasn't clear right away what this woman wanted.
She ignored the front door and came in here.
It was 4:30 Saturday morning. That's when Jamie Woods says a stranger came onto his property and woke his whole family. They live on Northeast 28th Street near 242nd and Camas. Woods says the woman started banging on their back door.
Long enough for my dog to go crazy like that.
I was scared because I thought someone was like breaking in and like robbing us.
I mean, she was desperate to get in, which I can understand.
Woods says he opened the door just enough for the woman to speak.
She told me that someone was trying to kill her and someone stole her car and all this other stuff. So I was like, okay, well, hold on a second.
Woods called 911 and walked the woman outside.
We didn't know exactly what he was walking into.
Police say the woman told them she'd been carjacked near Mill Plain and Grand in Vancouver. She says the suspect asked her for water, which she provided. Then she let him get in her car. That's when she says he held her at knife point and forced her to give him control of the car. She says several miles later, on a dirt road in Camas, she jumped out of the moving car and escaped.
She was all dirty, barefoot, no shoes.
With deputies on the way, Woods took this cell phone video of the woman for safety. You can hear her recounting what happened.
Thought he was gonna kill me, so I jumped out.
The only thing I can think of is like maybe he was bringing her out here to kill her, dump her, rape her, who knows. I'm just thankful that she got out of the vehicle and got here to someone that was willing to call the authorities and help her, regardless of her attempting to break into the house.
I'm pretty proud of him for how he reacted with the situation.
Woods is just relieved.
We didn't know if she was, crazy or if she was actually telling the truth, but come to find out the whole story was completely true.
Again, that was Catherine Cook reporting. Clark County deputies did spot the suspect driving the victim's car less than an hour later. Deputies and Vancouver police officers stopped the car. They arrested the suspect, although he refused to identify himself. He's in the Clark County Jail right now on multiple charges, including robbery and kidnapping. All right, let's take a look at some other local headlines this afternoon, starting in the city of Longview, which has declared a 150-person homeless camp a public health emergency and is now clearing that site. The camp is on city-owned property right off Alabama Street. People have been allowed to camp there for years, but now Longview is moving them to a city-owned parking lot, although it's not clear how long they can stay there. We did reach out for clarification, but haven't heard back yet. Meanwhile, police say a man died in Seaside after falling out of his kayak. Officers got a call at around 11 o'clock yesterday morning about an empty kayak floating offshore. Witnesses say the man was in a group of paddlers, but somehow got separated from his kayak. His body was later recovered. Police say the man was in his 50s. He was wearing a wetsuit, but was not wearing a life jacket. And the National Guard has been deployed to southern Oregon to help fight the Rum Creek fire, which has now burned more than 19,000 acres and is currently 34% contained. More than 50 soldiers are currently in Josephine County, where the fire is, and will stay there for as long as needed. The troops are trained to work alongside firefighters, but in this case, they've been called to help with traffic and road closures. The National Guard said they're also working to keep out looters and protect people's property. And that's a look at some of this afternoon's local headlines. This morning, the Coast Guard also released the names of all 10 people on board the plane that crashed into the Puget Sound on Sunday. There was 1 child and 9 adults on board. These are a look at some of their names. Jason Winter has been identified as the pilot. Passengers include Patricia Hicks, Luke and Rebecca Ludwig, Joanne Mara, and Gabrielle Hanna. Sandra Williams was also on board. She was a civil rights activist based in Spokane and was actually on vacation celebrating her birthday. And we've learned that Ross Andrew Mickle was on board with his family. He owned Ross Andrew Wineries in Woodinville. His family released a statement that read in part, "We are beyond devastated at the loss of our beloved Ross Mickle, Lauren Hilty, Remy, and their unborn baby. Our condolences go out to the victims and their families." Meanwhile, check out this. This is a thresher shark that washed ashore in Long Beach on Friday. So this shark is 12 feet long. It weighs more than 300 pounds. The Seaside Aquarium says the shark was still alive when staff first got to it, but it did die a short time later. Experts dissected the shark Saturday right there on the beach. They actually invited the public to come watch. They could ask questions if they had any, and about 50 people took them up on that offer. Experts hope the exam will reveal why this shark washed ashore. We know thresher sharks usually hang out about 40 miles from the shore, which is part of why this story is so strange.